Hey everybody, I'm Yvonne Williams with Back to Earth Creations, and in this video I'm really excited to be blurry. There we go. No, but no, to show you guys my very first resin casting project. I was very generously gifted some Clearcast 7000, and I was a little intimidated because I've never worked with resin before. I know a lot of folks say that it's very easy and very beginner friendly, but it is not foolproof, and I'm like, I do better with foolproof, I'm not gonna lie. But so I was careful, and for my first time I only used a little bit of this Casting Craft transparent resin dye in red, and it came out, I could have added a lot more, honestly, but I wanted to show you guys how easily it's peeling out of the molds. This one's still a little flexible. I don't know if that's normal. And it could just be that it's quite thin, but I did a bunch of different like shaped molds and different things, so I'm gonna get the camera angle changed over so that y'all can get a better perspective of what I'm doing. And we'll talk about how these ones, the cure time for Clearcast is 24 hours, but my house is quite cold because it's winter time, so I actually had to leave this for about 48 hours until it was no longer sticky on the back. I was so scared that I hadn't mixed it enough, or you know, all sorts of stuff, but it turned out okay. I just had to wait longer. I, in a panic, Googled what to do when resin's sticky, because I don't use full complete sentences, but, and I was like, well, I can't fix if I didn't mix it enough, so I'll just let it sit longer and see if that worked. Unfortunately, that worked. So let's get this turned around and get started. So what I did was I mixed equal parts of the resin and the hardener of the Clearcast 7000. Then I added in like maybe 10 to 15 drops, which I could have used way lots more. But these are just little silicone candy molds from like Michael's or Hobby Lobby or Joann's. Actually, I think they're carried everywhere. Now these ones still have a little bit of flexibility to them, not quite so much as this piece, which this one might just be acting that way because it's so thin. Again, this is my very first resin project, so I don't really know what's going on here. Now, I did add in a few drops of, let me see if I don't have something that I could just do in the background. You can see there's a little bit of marbling there. Really nice mirror finish on this too, but it's very, very translucent. You can see how much the light's coming through it. And I added in a little bit of marbling by just putting in a drop or two of the resin dye and then swirling it with a piece of wire. And so that gave us some cool effects, but I wanted something a little bit bolder, so I have this piece over here that I actually watered down some acrylic paint, some acrylic art enamel actually, so it'll stay quite shiny, but there's still a little bit of a run to it. But I'm hoping that as it dries, it'll give us a very nice dark background, and I'm going to experiment, I think, with doing a second pouring with some Pearl-X pigment and just, I don't know, all sorts of different stuff. But I wanted to unmold these just to see. I'm super excited though. They look like Jolly Ranchers. But yeah, this is, y'all leave in the comments below, is it normal for it to be this flexible? It's also still picking up thumbprints on the back. But yeah, so these ones are popping out pretty well. Yeah, it still leaves dirty little thumbprints on the back, but the front side is quite nice. That one has a little bit of something for some reason. Here's another one. I also only filled these ones up halfway because I figured that would be a good thickness, like for a pendant. Okay, so I'm gonna pop some of these out because Randy saw this mold and he was like, oh my god, that's a rupee. And I was like, yes it is. Ooh, that's nice. I like that. The little, oops, the little rupee. Very cool. And again, these molds I think were, original price was like $10, but I'll put links to the tools and materials used down below. But I really wanted to be able to make like some rupees and stuff because I thought that'd be really cool. Like, wouldn't it be neat to have like a rupee on your keychain? And again, the backs are a little sticky. I'm not sure what to make of that. Let's see what this other shape looks like. That's nice too. And that one I just kind of dropped a dot of one drop of dye in and let it spread out naturally on its own without any spinning or swirling. Well, that one's pretty too. You can kind of see. Wishing I had a piece of paper or something that I could put behind it. Here we go. I've got something. Yeah, now you can really see that kind of swirling and texturing. And it's super subtle. I thought these ones would be nice since it's coming up on Valentine's Day too. Now the ones that I'm really excited about are these crystal molds. Now again, going with the silicone, they seem to be very easy to unmold. Like, it just peels right apart. Just trying to get my... Now again, kind of bendy though. Kind of really bendy. Which might be neat. I don't know if it's supposed to be like that. But look at the faceting on that though. That's cool. I bet I could come through and like shave that down with like a craft knife or something. So that'd be really pretty wire wrapped. There's our neighbor's music. I don't know if y'all can hear that. But then I have this mold here too. And again, just, this is me experimenting with these for the first time. Oops. That's my fingernail slipping. And I filled these just right up to the top. I didn't bother with any kind of inclusions or anything. I didn't want to put... Ooh, that one's very pretty. Oh, it had a bubble in it. That's a shame. Right there. Which might give me a nice little knock to put wire through to wire wrap it. No such thing as a mess up. It's just an opportunity to get creative. And Lemmy Winks is back there fighting with his bottle. I don't know if y'all can hear that. Sorry though. Okay, one more. And with these ones, I was really concerned because I'm like, man, that's a really small opening to try to birth this crystal through. So here we go, birthing the crystal. Because I don't want to tear up the molds, but at the same time, I'm sure whoever designed it knew what they were doing. So here's to hoping they knew what they were doing, enough to get me through not knowing what I'm doing. Ooh. Am I allowed to, like, cut that? Like, should I? I don't know. Because I kind of don't want to, but I don't know how I'm going to get this out of there. Push. I was only halfway kidding when I said birth the crystal, but now I'm like, good gravy. There we go. Once you get that tip out. Ooh, that's pretty, though. So interesting with those irregular faceting. Like, I like that a lot. Okay, and now we also had, to keep these from falling over, because you can see I had one fall over and lose some resin, I just put them in a spray paint can lid, and now I can just take them out. And internet said using some soapy water could help me in trying to get my crystals out, but I don't have any soapy water, so we'll see how this works. My neighbor's bumping music some more. And also, I'm wondering if I can get in here with some pliers and just grab it right there. Nope. Because I figured I'm going to have a cap on this one anyways. So I'm going to take it and roll it. Just to try to get it to detach. Twisting a bit. Just to break that suction. Come on, push. So also, I like to give y'all the perspective of what it's like to be a beginner, because we're all beginners at some point or another, and I'm sure one day I will have a much easier time, not demolishing my pretty crystals, but no, I'll have a much easier time getting these out, but until I learn the trick, if y'all are struggling, you are not alone. Rolling a bit, push in a bit. I'm definitely going to try to fill it all the way up to the top next time, just to try to get, oops, because I really don't want to break this mold. I mean, they're such nice molds. Porque, how do I do this? And I even watched a video. How did she do it so easy? Come on, get out of there. Get on. My resin. Ow, that hurt my fingernails too. Okay, well. It definitely is not hardened up all the way. If I can pull off pieces of it. I mean, look at how bendy that still is. That can't be right. I know y'all will be able to help me though down in the comments, because I can't be the only person dealing with these things, these troubles at the beginning too, right? Okay, I give up. I'm going to get some dish soap and water. Okay, so the internet was not lying. This soapy water makes like all the difference in the world. So y'all saw the troubles and struggles I was having with that one. So let's take another one. Just added the thing. And I have just a little, like, it's the closest jar I could find. It's the lid of a candle, but with like maybe a 1/4 teaspoon of dish soap with just like a couple tablespoons of water. I don't know if that's important, but I know somebody will ask, so there you go. And then I want to get in there. I've dipped my finger in it. But I just want to get just enough open on the side here. And the sides of our molds. That this can kind of slide down in there. And, you know, but now my hands are all slippery. Stay on target. Stay on target. Is that your nice way of telling me to stay on camera?
Yes.
Okay. No, it's not being easy at all. It really did, like, Randy heard me go whoop and everything. Okay, so I'm just getting it down in there. And squish. Squish, like if I can just get a drop of this stuff in there, this watery dish soap, and then wipe it off my hands. That way I can actually get a grip. This is not as easy as it looks, you guys. In fact, I don't think I'm making it look easy at all. But I have faith in us. We can do this. Okay, so I've crammed some in there. Do it, Randy? Thank you. So I got some in there. You can hear it kind of gunking around. Here we go. Maybe. Get out of there, you stinking thing in your mold. But you can see it's starting to try to... there it goes. Okay, and then you just squeeze and it comes out. But it's a matter of breaking that seal all the way down. Oh, this one had some pretty little bubbles in it. So there we are. So let's try another one to see if it gets any easier. I'm like, please let it be easier. Okay, now this is one that doesn't seem to have any kind of taper to it whatsoever. Like it's just a straight cylinder. So I'm just breaking it away from the sides a little bit. Just gonna dip the end of it into the soapy bubbles. And then I'm gonna roll to try to get that down in there. And wipe the soapy water off my hands. So, and then I'm twisting it again just to try to break that seal. And there it goes. Once we get that seal broken down to the tip, we're able to just kind of push it out. Poosh. I really like how this would make such a pretty like aquamarine. because see how it has these lines in it? It really makes it look like an actual like gemstone crystal. Okay, yeah, it's official. Soap and water makes life a little bit easier. There's another one that's just straight. And again, because trying to push it out on its own, no luck. But it seems like you've got to be able to get it down into between the sides of the mold. And I've just dipped the head of it there. Wipe my hands off. Try to get it twisted, because man, soap makes a really good lubricant on this silicone. And I didn't use any kind of mold release because I was reading that it would risk making the surface of some of your stuff cloudy. So again, I'm really interested in hearing what y'all have to say. Hey, doggy, what you doing? I'm really interested in hearing what y'all have to say and what your thoughts are on things like this. There we go. And you can kind of see whenever an air bubble gets in there. And I'm just twisting and twisting and pushing. And then if I can push until that tip seal breaks, and you can feel when that tip seal breaks. Boop, there it goes. And this one's just a straight one. So these are really interesting. I think so far my favorites are these two. Beryl. I think it's B-E-R-Y-L. Is that what this style is? Like the beryl crystals? Ooh, this one's pretty neat too. So, I push down, get a little bit of that seal broke. Oops. Dip the tip. And roll it. And then just trying to break that tip seal. And then squeezing it out. Ooh, that one's nice too. I like that kind of shape though. I think I'm definitely going to have to poke a needle or a wire down to try to let these air bubbles escape to get cleaner cast crystals. But I think that's definitely a really nice start. Now also, let's see about this guy. That one's a lot harder than the other one. Just popping all sorts of crystals out. So I'm going to go ahead and continue removing these guys from their molds, because I think we're going to go through and throw them on the ground and try to get some different effects with a second casting on the backs of them. Also, we have this one here with some super little crystals, and look at how cute that came out. And I think what I'm going to do with these ones is go through on the backs of them with some, like a color shift nail polish. But we'll kind of get there as we go. But man, this is how easy I like it. But look at those pretty faceting. Yeah, so I'm going to back these in foil and all sorts of things. Because some of these might make really cool to suspend in other resin pieces. Well, that one had a little bubble up top. I really like that one. Ooh, so pretty. But yeah, so I'm going to continue unmolding these, and then I'll meet y'all right back here, and we will find some different ways of taking something that is one big batch of like a single color, and then making some of the different pieces unique. That one is sharp, like literally. Okay, so I'm going to do that, and then I'll meet y'all right back here. Okay, y'all, so I'm back after it's been a minute, and I've painted on the backs of a lot of these hearts that I cast out of resin. And this one has red acrylic paint and on the back of it. And that's how it looks. Now this one was the first one that I took out whenever it was still not quite cured at all. So the front has quite a bit of, it's going to need sanded. But you can see the light doesn't come through it as much anymore. It's much more opaque because of the backing. Here I have two that I've done with the PBO paints. This one is with a red ceramic. And they're not completely dry yet, like I could imprint it with a fingernail. These are definitely, this is the slowest drying option of the different paints that I have. Slower only than second to just pouring another layer of resin. But again, it has a very similar effect to the acrylic paint on the back. But this one, you can see the front is much nicer. It still has a little bit of pocking in the surface. But this one I did with the Moon Prism PBO paint. And it's still kind of drying, but it has a really nice kind of swirly effect there on the front. And that's the swirling inside of this was done with red resin dye. And I really like that dimension that it gives it. Very similar effect was achieved just using white nail polish. Flip that over. So you can see this one, the silvery reflective quality of the PBO paint shown through very nicely. Now also, speaking of reflective qualities, this one is just silver nail polish. And the nail polish seems to have dried really nicely. Hasn't eaten into the acrylic or to the resin or anything, but you can see it has a really nice kind of shiny silver showing through, or silvery, almost like a silver lined seed bead, if that makes sense, like that kind of foil backing. As does this one, which is done with a much more pewter toned silvery glitter. And it's really cool. The backs of these resin cabs, I guess, for lack of a better term. I mean, I made it in a candy mold. But the backs of them are a little bit higher, you can see. And it makes a perfect little dish for either doing a second pouring of resin to just dome it out, or to, you know, glob in a bunch of different paints or enamels or what have you. A little bit got onto the front, so I'm going to have to be doing a lot of sanding and stuff, but again, that silvery, this one has a little bit of a gold tinge to it. I don't know how well the camera's going to pick up on that. Our hot pink, it's a UV reactive hot pink, is shining through quite nicely. I don't know if it'll still be UV reactive, but we'll see how it goes. And this one, you can actually see those little designs on the front are from whenever I was stirring it in. That disturbed the resin, I guess. I need to check and make sure that it didn't actually mark the mold, because I'll need to be more careful next time. And this one's a really nice, it's a pink that has a very intense green holographic color shift. Like pink, green. And that's how it looks from the front. So the green doesn't really translate through, but that shininess still does, though. And then these are a couple that I just did in red. This is a glittery red nail polish. Shining through quite nicely. Again, I'm finding I really like the ones that have a little bit of a refractive property, kind of making it look lit from within. And this one was just a quick, dry, basic red. And it doesn't really do a whole lot through to the front. This one was a purple and copper glitter. Very pretty. But again, from the back side, it almost gives you a super dark heart. I bet that one would look really cool on a clear cast heart. And then this one was probably my favorite. It's a color that, I mean, a very reflective, metallic, like a chrome color. Like a pink chrome. Like, I think that's what it was called, was, you know, chrome. And then actually, let me grab the bottle. Yeah, Sally Chrome nail makeup. And this is, what color is this? Tourmaline Chrome? I don't know. It's rubbed off a little bit. It's an older bottle. One of my good friends gave it to me. But it's an older bottle, but it still checks out. Let me stumble back into my chair. It's just a little too high for me. But that was probably my favorite, just because, again, it has so much reflective quality coming through to the front. So those are just some of the different examples how cast from this same color. This was kind of our starting color. This is a thicker piece of it, and this is a thinner piece of it. But just the different effects that you can get by backing it with different paints and enamels and things. And now over here, I don't know if you can see, right here, I have some alcohol inks drying on the surface of some baked polymer clay. And I'm going to go through and try to do a dome on that. And this is just a silicone trivet. I really like it because it has these divots for if if and when the resin pulls off to the side, it's not going to just be a big glob. It gives you a little puddle for it to settle into, and then it'll pop right off, because very easy cleanup on these silicone molds. I'm also going to be doing some experimenting with, here I have some Mod Podge, very furry Mod Podge molds. Again, very flexible silicone, so we'll see how that goes, but I have some in some very cool gear color, or gear shapes. Lock and key, some wings. We'll see how those go. Also, I have this one that's little gemstones, and I had found with these, with the polymer clay, because I had originally purchased these for use with polymer clay, and it's just, it never came out quite as crisp, so I think I'm going to possibly really prefer them for resin casting, because I'll be able to just leave it to sit, and then whenever it's nice and hard and done curing, I can just pop it out, and we'll have a nice, all that faceting should transfer through nicely, and I think some of these faceted gems are going to look really pretty. I'm also going to experiment with this push mold, silicone push mold of faces, just to see what happens, because I think it'd be really cool to be able to do some goddess faces that have like a fairy garden scenery background. Like, I think, I don't know, I want to see how that works. You know, no sense in, or no harm in experimenting, rather. And then I'm also going to be using one of these, again, a polymer clay, intended for polymer clay, silicone push mold, just to make some of these different shapes, because I absolutely love donut beads, but I can find myself having difficulty getting nice donut beads with like color patterns and things out of this one, because I always distort them when I'm popping them out. I'm not very good at that. I have another batch of these ready to go, and in this video I'm going to be experimenting with just putting a few drops of alcohol ink down into our project, like down into our resin, just to see how that looks. I also have some really cool glitters, micas and glitters. I really like the flat glitters in here. I think that's going to look really neat. And then I was generously gifted all of these different additives that I think will be so cool, that I'm going to try to experiment with in some of our more more of these resin cast pieces. So also, just to show you guys how this first batch came out, these are a lot of the little, like, check out that crystal. Oh my gosh, it made such a difference using the soapy water, taking the crystals out of their molds. So I'm going to sand down the top here and probably cover it with a nice little cap or something, but I think that looks very cool. I absolutely love that crystal shape. It's my favorite to work with. This one's pretty neat. I had some bubbles trapped, but I think that'll be all right. I mean, first project. But I love how even with just the uniformly translucent resin, it still gives us that little color gradient kind of taper off. And just a really interesting shape. Then I had just some circular. This one I think was one of Randy's favorites. Just a nice little like geometric shape. This one has the little striping in it. This one was just a square. You know, when I say that, oh, just a square, but there'll be a lot of uses for that, I'm sure. And then we also have, this one was really cool, where it's twisted. That's just neat. Another square. This one I thought was really cool. It's a diamond shaped, but just the faceting that gives, it's pretty cool. This is the one that we spilled, or I spilled. And so with these same molds, it's occurred to me I don't have to make them all full length. And then this one was pretty cool too, triangular, but I thought that was neat. So that's how those came out. These guys came out of the little mold, quite small, but I'm really excited to see what I might be able to use this in. I am anticipating some fairy house applications. Might be pretty cool. That was Randy's idea, but I've stolen it. And then these guys turned out wonderfully. Now this one I didn't pour as much, I guess, as I should have. This next time I'm going to make sure to dome it quite a bit, but I think I'm going to fill in the back here with possibly this chrome color of nail polish just to see what it does. In fact, let's do that real quick because I've got the nail polish here beside me. Now this one I was able to actually sand it down almost perfectly smooth. With a bit more sanding, I think I'd be able to get it to where you wouldn't be able to tell that that's the side that it was cast from. But this one I think I'm going to be stuck with having a very distinct, this is the back of the gem. So I'm actually going to use this little bezel almost that it's made to put just some globs. Let me get on camera for you. I'm just getting as much onto the brush as I can and then just globbing it on down. Now the only thing with this gem being irregularly shaped is I can't just lay it on its tummy and let it dry. I'm gonna have to prop it up a bit, that way it doesn't all leak out the side or dry unevenly. So that's how that's looking. And I'm going to set this off on the this little mat that we have here because I'm able to position it on all those little honeycombs to make it lay, maybe? No, I can't. Okay. So I'm going to prop it up with another gem. Too far. Maybe some toothpicks or something. And I found a Q-tip. Something that I think might work would be to have like a little bed of cornstarch or sand or salt or just something to set it in that would give us a nice bottom. Well, this is life now. It's just going to be like that. So to mix the resin, so when casting the resin, you could use these little medicine cups that are graduated on the side to tell you how much you're pouring. Or for bigger batches, I actually just use plastic Dixie cups and a food scale. Now be sure whenever you sit it on there that you put your cup on and then press 0. That way it balances out at 0 with the cup. It's just nice to kind of start nice even space like that. And I'm going to mix a big cup of just clear, and then I'm going to go through and pour it in a bunch of different molds and add different things to those different molds. That way I don't know, I feel like that would give me the broadest range of experimentation without doing like how I did in my first batch and coming out with just a ton of stuff all the same color. So I'm putting on my gloves because safety is important. And we have our part A and our hardener, our part B. It says using a round mixing cup, boom, mix equal parts by volume. Pour resin into hardener and stir well for 3 to 5 minutes, scraping the sides and the bottom of the cup. Let stand in mixed container for 5 minutes to allow bubbles to rise to the surface. It is recommended to mix a minimum of 50 grams per mixture. This product is ready to use. Also on health it says 1. This does have a bit of a smell to it, but we've got fans and stuff going, so hopefully we won't die to death. I do actually think I'm going to put on my respirator, just because I was huffing this for quite a while and got a pretty bad headache last time. So I'll be right back with that. Okay, y'all, I've got my gloves on, I've got my mask, let's get started. Making sure that there's good contact and that you've replaced your filters when you need them replaced. So, let's go. So it says to pour the resin into the hardener, so I'm going to start with the hardener, and I have my stirring stick here with me. And so let's go with, you can see I've got 2 holes punched. I think last time I did like 100 grams. Okay, we're to 97, 98, 99, and you can see it was teetering into 100, so I'm going to do just a few more drops. There we are. Put the cap back on. And so now I'm going to be very, very careful to make sure that I don't over pour too much resin into the hardener. We want to stick to just a solid 100. So we're going to be counting this up to 200. So let's go. Whenever it jumps, that's the bottle touching the side of the cup. I'm being careful to not let that happen too much. Okay, there we are. 201. Okay, so now I'm going to go through, that's what I was afraid of, and add just 1 gram of this stuff. There it goes. It went back down to 200. Now it's at 201. Okay, so here's to hoping that y'all do a better job at mixing than I do. So now we get to start with mixing for 3 to 5 minutes. So I'm gonna stir the heck out of this. And I'm just stirring like this. You don't want to like be whisking it the way that you would like scrambled eggs trying to incorporate air. You actually specifically don't want to be incorporating air into this. You want as few bubbles as possible. Unless, you know, that's what you're going for. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life. But for getting a nice crystal clear, no bubbles, just a gentle, even stirring. I'm scraping the bottom. I'm scraping the sides. We got this. So I'm going to keep stirring it for at least 3 minutes. This resin has a pot time of 45 minutes. And what that means is that you can have it sitting here mixed in the cup for 45 minutes before it starts to like be non-workable. So I don't mind taking, you know, an extra couple of minutes to just make sure that it's thoroughly stirred. But I'm going to just keep mixing, and then I'm going to wait 5 minutes to allow more of the bubbles to kind of work their way up to the surface. And if you have like I wouldn't go so far as to say a hot plate, but if you want to like hold it, it's really cold in my house right now. So I'm going to let the temperature from my hands heat this epoxy or resin up while I stir it. And just being in a warm environment, or maybe like a bowl of warm, you know, to hot water, will help those bubbles to kind of rise up out of it. So that's just a tip. So I'm going to stop recording, and then I will come meet you all right back here after I finish stirring and after I've let it sit for 5 minutes. So thank you guys so much. I'll meet you right back here in a minute. So for the sake of this next step, I've taken my mask off, and really the smell's not bothering me or anything. So I want to zoom in so that y'all can really see all of these little bubbles that are coming up on the surface. And I hope this is a good enough angle. That one might be a little better. I just have a regular old straw, And I'm going to come in and blow gently onto the surface, and I want you all to watch what happens. Is that not just the neatest thing? I hope y'all were able to see. And I'll be doing this again throughout the casting process. So yeah, that's just what I do with the little straw to get all the bubbles out. It looks like just about all of them. There's still more rising up to the surface, but I'll deal with that as we get there. I want to start with something that I know I want to do, and that is more of these hearts. And so I have our little tongue depressor, craft stick thingy, and I'm going to come through, and I've just dipped in, because this cup's a little large to be making a little funnel out of the lip of it. So I just dip the stick and then drag it. And about 3 stick dips seems to be a good thickness for me on these hearts. So I'm just going to come through, and I'm going to fill up each little segment. And 3 dips, or, oh, 3 stick dips. I'll be editing that out. 3 stick dips is not an exact science. Oh, sorry. 3 stick dips is not an exact science. So I'm just roughly trying to get half of the mold filled. Oop, and if you get little drops and stuff coming off the side, that's fine. It happens. These silicone molds are so easy to clean. Like the resin does not want to stick to the silicone. It's really nice. There we are. Okay, so here we are. We have our resin into our mold. And all these little drops and stuff, I'm just leaving them there. I'm not too worried about them. More bubbles will start to work their way up and out of this. I think I'm going to add just a little bit more to a few of these. Oops. Now that's just me being messy though. There's no sense in wasting resin. So let's see if I can't scoop that back into the mold. That was a big glob. And I'm going to try a couple with just our Casting Craft transparent resin dye. I'm going to zoom in just a hair so that y'all might better see what it is that we're doing. Five drops into that one. 1, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now I have just a little bamboo skewer stirring stick. I'm actually just gonna swirl about. Trying to get in all the little crannies and things, but there we are. Now also, I have a little paper towel here that I'm going to wipe off the excess resin and dye because I want to keep using the same stirrer. And now I'm going to use alcohol ink in these next three just to see how it works. And we've got, boop. Oh wow, that gives us a very different color. And it spreads so nicely. 2, 3. And I'm just going to do 3 little drops. In each of these. Oh, changed my mind on that pretty quick. Just seeing how it kind of spreads around. And now I'm also going to do oh, I really like how faint that is. Just 1 little drop. Here we go, good drop. Just to see how this stuff balloons out. Now, I am going to go ahead and mix the alcohol ink in these ones. Just to give us, you know, some experimentation. This is the resin dye swirled about, and this is the alcohol ink swirled about. And then that is the resin dye just dripped in. And now I'm going to do the alcohol ink just dripped in. And see how those start to look. How they start to evolve even. I think I'm definitely going to want the resin dye does not move much on its own. So this one I'm able to just poke and drag. A lot of the same techniques of the PBO paints seem to be working. You can poke and drag. So that looks pretty cool. You can swirl. I wonder if these alcohol inks will marble at all, or get any cells or anything like that. That'd be really neat. Now also, while I have these hearts here, I want to experiment with some of these little things. So I'm just going to open up the package. And this seems to be a wonderful little sampler of just a lot of the different grits and styles and things. Ooh, I love this one. I mean, Valentine's Day is coming up, so my eye is getting led immediately to anything that's red and heart-shaped. So, let's see, how do we get the little stopper out of there? I'm gonna not use my mouth because I don't need my face to be covered in glitter. So just gripping with pliers and pulling that out. And now I also have this very little scoop where you could use tweezers, I'm sure. And oh, just go sprinkle. Just like that. Oh, they're little hearts and half moons. That is super stinking cute. This one is little magenta flakes. Again, just using my pliers. This one has a variety of different grits in it. Or, grits of, glitter. Ah! Oh, Lord. Now I've got craft herpes. Well, what's done cannot be undone. So for like with tape and a vacuum. Put the little cat back on that one. Ooh, this one has cute little holographic hearts. And stars! Like a little star jumped out on me. I think I'm enjoying this, you guys. Tap, tap, tap. Well, one of them jumped over into the other one. Yeah, I think I prefer using the little scoop as opposed to tap, tap, tapping. Now here are some nice little heart cutouts. Weep, weep, weep. Oh, they've got the cutouts and the centers. It's like the donuts and the holes. I hope that makes sense to someone other than me. Ah! Oh, sorry. Apparently that's the noise I make when I get resin on my little scoop. That's okay. It wipes off. Okay. Oh, I like these ones. Super cute little shimmer sprinkles. This one's got little beads in it. And I think a sampler like this is perfect for just, you know, doing exactly like how we're doing here, experimenting to see, oh, do I like how this happens? Do I like that texture and technique and, you know, just all sorts of stuff. So it's going to be really fun to see how these pan out. Now also, I'm going to leave these ones be. Ooh, this one's got big old flakes. I can't get the little lid out. Boop. Okay, so this one has some really nice foils. Because I am most interested in doing some, like, faux dichroic glass. And these larger foils and things like that will be perfect for getting a really nice shimmery dichroic glass effect, I think. Based off of what the cats on the internet have been telling me, this should work. Chase down our lid. Also, these are really nice little glass bottles, too. Oh, I think I've got glitter in my mouth now. Oops. Now, also, let's see, what color is this? This is a rose salmon pink. It's Valentine's Day, so we gotta do it even if we think it's gross looking. This one, in my heart, I do not think this is going to be my favorite color. But I've been wrong before. So I'm going to take this, and I'm going to get my little scoop, and I'm going to go tap, 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 tap. It's going to need mixed in, I think. Yeah. These shimmer powders definitely benefit from getting mixed in. So there's my little mixie stick. Here's a little mixie stick. So I know, I really liked the spidering on that one, but shimmer's gotta do what a shimmer's gotta do. And I think that looks pretty neat. Okay, so now on this next one, we have some Silver Lux Mix by Stampendous. That's cute. Now also, using my little pliers here, I'm just going to take some of this film and drop it on the back. boop. Make it rain. Glitter and flakes. I think I definitely prefer the flakes to the glitter, but I could be wrong. Sometimes I don't always know what I like. Sometimes I need to try new things. And I'm just going to push these guys in a little bit. Just to see. Not necessarily all of them, but definitely want to get a little something going on. Now I've got another color. Oh, more than just the silver, I'm sure. There you are. So now we have a really nice gold that I'm going to add, the Gold Luxe Mix. I'm going to see how pinching it with my fingers works. That might give me a little bit more control over how it falls in. Just sprinkle, 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 sprinkle. Sorry guys, I'm having a little too much fun. Okay, just want to get that nice and flat along the back. Get that one in. You don't want to waste any. And then I'm going to do another in, I think I have a copper. Yeah. Copper Luxe Mix. Ooh, and it's got a little gem on it. You know, I wonder how that would look. Suspending a little heart in the heart. Like that. And then putting some copper glitter behind it. And I did a little, a bit, and lots. So we'll get to see how those looks differ. This one might actually need a little bit more resin over the back side of it. So let's see how that works. We just come through and drizzle. Just to lock everything in. Drip, drip, drip. I think I'm super duper liking that and you know, case point that sometimes I think I won't like something and then I mix it together and it turns out to be like almost my favorite. And I say almost because I'm not done yet. So I actually have some purple glitter right here that I'm going to put in this last one. Oh God, oh Lord, oh no. Oh, glitter herpes. Hey Randy, can I have some packaging tape or something? This one splooshed everywhere. I'll never be clean again. Thank you. What do you think of them?
Okay.
I figure it's worth experimenting. I mixed up a big batch of just clear resin this time. That way I could just add a bunch of different stuff to a bunch of different ones and see what happens from there. I think I'm good. That helped me get the chunks of it up. I'm going to mix this one a little bit more. Thank you so much, Randy. Ladies and gentlemen, Randy Vaughn. He is the best thing ever. Better than sliced bread. So I'm just stirring that glitter in a little bit more. Now this one I feel like needs more glitter, but I think I'm going to leave it as is. Because I don't know how it's going to play out. And I don't want to spend a lot of glitter investment, if that makes sense. Just to be like, oh, I can't even see it. Because I did quite a few drops of the pigment in on that one. So those are just a couple of these different shapes and colors and things of glitter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this aside on a banker's box lid that has some other resin stuff in it at the moment, and then I'm going to take it into a side room and cover the top of it with a regular banker, like the rest of the banker box. That way I don't have to worry about cat hair or dust or anything landing into our resin. Trying to get everything out of there. But yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick this up very carefully and set it here in the lid of a banker's box. And we could tilt it and get some things to shift around a bit, but I want to keep it primarily flat and level and nice. And so I'm actually going to take this and I'm going to put in the rest of the box over it. That way, even if a cat jumps on top of it, I don't have to worry about it collapsing in on itself or anything. It's a very sturdy box. And I am going to continue experimenting much in this fashion with the other molds and with more colors of alcohol ink, and then I will come back and talk to y'all about what we did and what I think of it. So I'll see y'all then. So I've put some more resin into our little molds, and to remove more of the air bubbles I'm just going to come through . Let's see how that removed them. Let me zoom in a bit so that you might see. See how that works? And that one still has a little speck in it, but that'll be alright. And I'm going to try to make some green rubies. Here I have this little red ruby that I had made and screwed in a little eye pin. And I'll be putting a bail through that. And I just think that's really neat. Randy loves them, I think. Do you like the rubies, Randy?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he says, oh yeah. So now I'm going to experiment with using India ink, as well as this is Mermaid, which I don't have the alcohol inks. Like, I only have a couple different colors that I was able to get my hands on. So this one is a little bit more of a bluey green. This one is Stream, again, quite a bluey green. But just to see the different effects that we get. And then I also have some Pearl-Ex pigment. So I was going to try each of these just to kind of see what we can get. So I'm going to begin with the India ink. And I have a little drop applicator. Gotta get that up in there. Boop. Very little bit. Here we go. Boop. 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 The India ink does not really seem to want to meld very well with the rest of what we're doing. The alcohol ink had like really permeated what we were doing. Like, that's how the India ink is just sitting. Whereas let's go the next one over and use some alcohol ink. You can see it, I mean, almost automatically branches out and has these really cool effects. Really cool effects. I like that. And that's only 3 little drops of color. So let's come in now. I'm going to use the opposite end of my stirring stick. And I'm going to mix this in very thoroughly. Initially. I'm going to try to get all of that pigment mixed in. And if you've got a bunch of it climbing up the sides, that'll all sand off. It'll be fine. And I'm going to wipe the excess resin off of our stirring stick. And now I'm going to come over here and see if this will mix in. Now also, I've got some bubbles coming up on that one. I'm going to let them rise a bit more, and then I'm going to blow them out with the straw. So let's try to stir in this India ink. Now it's blending in quite nicely as well. This one's a very, very emerald green. And I can't quite see down into the depths of this gem quite as well as I can on the alcohol ink. Which, speaking of, I'm actually going to come in and blow the bubbles off the surface. There we go. And now I'm actually going to take a few more drops and go like boop. And just kind of let them disperse in whatever way makes them happy. Because I think that'll give us some really cool effects on the back of our rupee. And now I'm going to turn this, and I'm going to mix Pearl-Ex pigment into this one. And I think I'm going to do 3, well shoot, that one came out quite large, so maybe just 2. Nope, still 3. They got progressively smaller. Scoops of the Pearl-Ex pigment. And we also have a really cute emerald green glitter that I want to put just a touch of that in. Oh, well, that was quite the touch. Just a capful off the bottle. And I'm going to stir that in, so that's how it's looking initially. Trying to get it in off the sides. Now that's looking pretty neat. Kind of working the excess off the side to drain back into our mold. And now on this one, I think I'm actually going to do the dark blue alcohol ink. Just spread on the back without stirring. Just to see what happens. And then we do also have a nice little round blue glitter. Actually, I'm not going to do the round blue glitter. I'm going to use that Silver Luxe mix. I just want a couple of these very beautiful flakes. With, I guess, a bit of glitter. There we are. Just filling in the back. Okay. And so now, I think I'm going to put just a little bit more resin over the back of this one. Again, just to see. I mean, I'm really loving the experimentation with this. The getting to kind of like, ooh, what's that going to do? Ooh, what's that going to do? So now I'm going to set this one off to the side. I actually need to blow some of the bubbles out of. There we go. Now I was just having fun playing with it. And I'm going to set this aside in our tray. That's how they're looking. And I am going to experiment a bit with, where'd you go? There you are. These little guys. Now, I'm not going to be using any glitters on these, and to make myself stick to that, I'm actually going to set them off to the side. And I want to experiment with alcohol inks. And I'm going to take one. This is the Stream, and I'm just going to put a drop in the bottom of that mold. Put the lid back on. Now I have this disposable applicator. Let me zoom out for you. And I'm going to go through and put a drop of different colors into all of these. So what did I already do? Okay. And then I am going to fill them with resin. And we're going to see what happens. There we are. Well, that just ran down the side. And yes, I am even going to use the brown, the teak wood. That might make a really interesting colored. Boop. Just right down the side there. Now also, I don't want to take too long with this because I don't want the alcohol ink can dry out quite quickly. A little drop of the yellow down there. And in an effort to have it have a cool effect, I want this to happen while it's still quite wet, so that it might disperse through the resin. This is a metallic gold, so I really feel like I need it. There we go. Get the mixer ball loose. So this one might be a really cool effect, actually. Drop that gold in there. I'm gonna do one with our red, if I can get it to go down in. These style bottles a little harder to aim. Oh no. There we go. Got a drop. Excellent. Now also, let's see what all we have there. I want to put some pearl powders. Lavender, where are you at? Oh, here we are. And this one is Interference Gold. It's a really cool, like, holographic effect. And I'm just going to take a scoop of that. These scoops were gifted to me, and they are just probably one of my favorite things. And I'm just going to tap that down into the tip. And some of this really nice purple that I do love so much. Just down there in the tip. Having to hurry because I don't know how this is going to go. A little bit green, just to see how it compares to the other green. Let's see if we can't do a little drop of India ink. 2 drops. We'll drop in a bubble. And then, oh, and here I was telling myself I wasn't going to do glitters, but I do have these really pretty holographic flakes. And I'm just going to do some holographic flakes down in the tip of that one, and down in the tip of this one. That one's actually going to have holographic flakes as well as purple pearl powder, just to see what happens. Okay, so now hopefully my alcohol ink has not dried up on me, and I'm coming in, expelling the air out of our dropper and pulling it up in. I don't know, I can hear the cars having a hard time outside. Okay, you can see it filling up. It snowed today, and I don't think the traffic is going to have an easy time of it with the hill outside, because I don't think they salted the roads. Yeep. I think opening these up is going to be a lot of fun. Okay, there we go. And I am trying to do my best to not introduce bubbles. But man, sometimes you just can't help it. There we go. And I'm going to continue doing this until I filled up all of them, and I'll meet you all right back here. Okay, so I'm actually, like, the cup is starting to heat up. I have a long pin here with a nice big head, and I didn't want to stir anything, but I do want to make sure that I don't have any air bubbles. So this is getting quite thick on me, but I just want to come through and relax out those air bubbles. Like, so I am doing just a single swirl, then pulling it up and out and trying to redeposit it. I'm starting to run out of my pot time, so let's try to get some straw in. We'll kind of revisit that as we get there. And I would like to come through now and revisit these guys that I did not have leveled. So I'm going to take my little thing here and try to, I don't know, in a perfect world I'd put like cardstock or something underneath this to make it nice and level. This is nice and dry. So, and you can see, man, that really changed the light perspective. Let me zoom out a bit so that maybe the color will adjust. Everything's looking very orange right now. So I'm just going to put a little bit of resin into the back of this one, just to keep it from chipping off. And I can take the tip of our stick here. And this will also help us to get an idea. This nail polish is not completely cured. I want to see if it'll bubble or do anything weird like that. There we are. And so now I'm going to come through on each of these cabs and do a bit of a drizzle. Much heavier at the top, since I think everything's going to have a tendency to want to run away from me, because that seems to be the way the table's slanting. Oh, and there it goes right off the side. Well, that's how it happens. Okay. And so now here we are. Just trying to train the resin to our edge. It's a very true saying that making haste makes waste. I definitely get sloppy at the end whenever I'm trying to hurry. But it'll happen. So there we are. Just kind of swirling it. It's self-doming, so I'm not worried so much about lines getting left. By my stick. But I do want to make sure that there's no bubbles, and I do want to make sure that I'm drugged to the edge as best as I can be. Because I think this is going to give us a very different effect from the cabs that haven't been domed. So I'm going to try to get these pushed to where they aren't sitting in their little puddles. And that's where those little honeycomb shapes are really nice. And now for the rest of our resin, I'm going to use up into these little molds. But I'm just going to pop in some purple Pearl-Ex, because I really like this purple Pearl-Ex. Just sprinkling in a bit. There we are. And then I'm going to put in just a little bit of this gray lavender. I'll steal this little scoop back. There we go. And now I'm going to give this just a rough stir. Just to see what happens. I'm going to get these guys set up on our surface here. And so much of this is just for the sake of seeing what happens. For science. And I'm finding I'm getting more and more accurate with the stick, so I'm less concerned about spending applicators for resin projects, if that makes sense. Like, I'd rather use those pipette applicators for something that can't just be finagled with a craft stick. And that's why I put the wax paper down. Because man, oh man, this stuff does like to drip. So I mean, the resin isn't burning my hand, but it definitely feels like I'm holding a cup of something warm, like drinkable coffee, which sounds amazing. Like a coffee or tea at a good drinking temperature is the heat that the cup feels like in my hand right now. I just realized my hand's completely in the way, but you can kind of see now what I'm doing. And I'm trying to fill these up much more than what I had the first time. That way I don't have that big socket to fill next time round. And now also, let me grab these and we can try to do our gems. Again, it's just become a slight panic of quick, get things made. Now I'm going to add some Silver Lux mix because I like that color scheme. Just a little sprinkle of the flakes into the cup. I know that happened off camera. Sorry guys, but I'm hurrying. And I'm just going to stir this up. And I'm going to pour this into this completely non-leveled and it definitely has a slower pour now than what it did have. So like if I were doing something where I wanted to like add in the glitter and stuff and not have it sink very far, I think this would be right about the time that I would do that. I'm really excited about this, you guys. Like this panic-induced, oh my god, just fill everything before the resin hardens. I don't want to waste it. Oh, that one got quite overfilled, so let me see if I can't steal some from it and move it over to the neighboring mold. So that one's definitely going to take some sanding. But all is not lost. Those edges will get cleaned up. It'll be okay. So now I'm going to very carefully try to not ruin everything. Pick this up, move it over, and I'm going to fill in some of these. which I want myself some donuts. So come here. Donut hole mold. Hololith. Which really, I guess the word hololith wouldn't really apply to this, because hololith is a round stone. Or a stone with a hole in it. Round stone with a hole in it? I don't know. Okay, next, little donut bead. And also, the best of these beads will be given to my very generous patrons, because without y'all, I would have never had the opportunity to pursue all of these different things. I would have never worked with resin. I mean, I can't say that. I might have one day, but I would have never been able to really devote myself to it and just have fun experimenting. I get hung up so much sometimes on making sure that something is going to be lucrative whenever I'm making it for in the booth, that it's like I can't risk wasting the supplies, the materials, the time. It's like I need this to work now. And so, but by the support of my patrons, I'm able to be like, if it doesn't work out, then we all learned something. So thank you guys for that. And to thank you guys for that, I send you the best of my work. I'm just scraping the heck out of my cup. I do feel like we are reaching the end of our pot life now. It's becoming almost, whenever I mix a two-part epoxy, kind of that very, very thick. And this is why we wear the gloves, is because this is really getting goopy. So there we are. I'm going to get all of this covered so that it will not get dog hair and who knows what else landed into it. And then I will meet you all right back here in a day or two to check out how these things have come along. Okay, y'all, so we're back. It's been about 30 hours since we last cast resin together. And again, I wanted to show you guys, I was just looking at them on the table. I really love these. The ones in the metallic in the background, super cool. I cannot wait to hopefully get my hands on some, glow powder. I am going to go through and dome the backs of these, though, not just so the nail polish won't chip off over time, but also to do away with these sharp edges without having to sand, because I'm tired of sanding stuff. So here they are. Now, I let these cure in the main room of the craft area, where it was much warmer. First off, this one came out very nice, even over the not completely dry yet nail polish. There's a little bit of bubbling, but I honestly think it looks super cool. And then from the front, I think that looks really nice. Like, I really like that. These guys, with the acrylic getting kind of stuck to the, or not stuck, I mean, you saw how easy it peeled off, but we can just come through and, like, just trim it down. I might be able to use a razor or at least sand or something. There it goes. Just cleaning off that extra clay, or extra resin. Looks very cool. Nice finish. Ha! I like the way that looks. But yeah, I'll definitely be sanding those down and chipping off these extra bits and things. So lots of cleanup needed on that, but really the honeycomb looks super cool. So that worked out nicely. And also I like the little patterns that the alcohol inks made. It's subtle but nice. Time to check these ones out. Just gonna kind of get my fingers in there, detach the resin a bit. Also, this batch isn't nearly quite so bendy as what the other one was. Definitely have a little bit to clean up, but man, I like those pearl powders. I think that looks really cool. So now we can see, let's check out how these ones came out. Ooh, that's nice. Definitely love the flat silver flakes, much more than what I like the little silver, like the round glitters, but those are still nice. So yeah, some cleanup will need done on this one, but that's super cute. Oh man, that Pearl X pigment though really does it for me. Look at that. How that one came out. And there's that one too. Oh, that one will look so pretty in a ring, I bet. There we go. And you can see how easily these push out of the molds. Oh, that's very cool. And these come out much nicer, I think, than any polymer clay that I had done in these molds. Sorry, messing with the camera, as always. So this one I'm very excited about because I really want to see how these donuts fared. Very nicely. It has kind of a frosted finish, but I kind of really like that. Yeah, because I can really see that, whereas this one has a very shiny interior. This has a very, like, kind of textured matte interior. So it makes sense that we would get a little bit more of a matte finish, but I think we can keep that in mind in future projects. But I don't think it makes it a bad thing. It just definitely is something to keep in mind. It's not quite as translucent, and I'm sure also that that might sand down to a really fine finish too. So I'm not quite so pleased with these ones because I did not think, I would have much rather have had that super shiny, but still very pretty though. So now we get to check out our rubies. Here's our blue that we had done. Oh, look at that. A little bit of the flake of glitter poking out the edge. Man, though, I really like the depth in these. Really gives you a little bit of a scene how we just dropped the color on the back. A lot of dimension there. Those glitter flakes really sink. Well, the round holographic glitters, but the flakes themselves, I think, suspend really nicely. So here's that green one we had done. Woo! Again, more of that green glitter sinking to the bottom. So I'll have to try some without any glitter in them. So that seems quite heavy, or maybe let it cure a bit before putting glitter on it. Very pleased with the clarity of these molds. Look at that one. Wow. So you can see it with kind of a white light coming in behind it. And the camera is really not doing the depth of this one justice. And this was the alcohol ink. So now we have the Indian ink. And it's not sticky at all, which is really nice. It has a very cool starburst pattern in it that the camera's not really picking up on, but I really, really like that. Very cool. Okay, now for some hearts. Let's pop this one out too. And this stuff, I guess, curing faster. It's really not bendy at all. I'm very, very happy about that. Very cool. Oh, I love that purple. Okay, I'll fight with that one later. Yeah, again, with these, now this is a little bendy. Ooh. Like Jolly Rancher bendy. Kind of gummy on the back, actually. So this was the dye, I think. Yeah, but we didn't stir it in all the way. I just rolled it a bit, and it left it quite gummy on the back. Like you can see, I can take it and just smush. So that's not that great. It might be able to sand off though. Those glitters didn't really incorporate as well as I would have hoped. It might have been better to do a two-part pouring on those ones. But that's what experimentation is for. Yeah, I think these heavier glitters would have done much better having an initial pour to make it stay clear on the front. So now it's time for some alcohol inks though. These ones are nice and hard. Still a little bit of bend to them. Ah, and the glitter. These glitters actually stayed on top and have a really nice kind of red flash to them. Yeah, I really like the alcohol inks. Very cool. All of those ones clustered right up to the very front. Let's check out these flakes. Ooh, I like those flakes. Flakes are officially my favorite. I just wish I'll need to be more careful and make sure I don't get any of the little glitter speckles into them, but I absolutely love those flakes. There's that one with that pink Prolex powder. I think that's probably my second favorite. Ooh, that one's pretty too though. Again, more of those crinkly silver flakes. Really love the almost dichroic look that it gives in those sections. And here we have more of those gold flakes. Again, I think it would have done better if I had like maybe poured it into a cup and then stirred specifically for that blend. Yeah, some of these aren't that great, but that's okay. I bet they'll paint up really nice. We'll find a way to utilize them, I'm sure. So some of them are still just a little gummy. So I'm actually going to run over and grab the dish soap concoction for this one. Okay, now we had quite a bit of pouring mishaps with these ones, so we'll see how they come out of the, seems to be popping out just fine. There we are. Yeah, apparently the resin doesn't stick too well to the lids of spray cans. I wouldn't use them as molds, but it's good to know that they're not just horribly stick-to-able. That's a word. Okay, so there's the extra resin that didn't get poured well. Now I get to fight with these, try to get them out. I'm actually going to scooch this back. So I'm actually going to dislodge all of these ones. Yeah, oh man, that comes out so much better. Woo! look at that. Oh, I really liked that almost a lava lamp effect that it gives. But yeah, I'm going to dislodge all of these and then we'll take a closer look at them. So this is how they came out. I only had one really mess up, and that was this one. The Pearl powder just kind of bunched there at the tip, and we got like a really bad bubble just right there. But other than that, and if you don't mind the natural inclusion look of it, what do you think of that one?
Oh, it's really cool.
For those of y'all who don't know, this is my partner Randy joining me. He is awesome. What do you think of that one?
That's pretty neat.
These are with the alcohol ink.
Really?
Yeah, they look all lava lampy.
Yeah.
Like a bit. I mean, I don't know, because I put them in, and then the most I stirred any of them was sticking that long pin in to try to release bubbles, and I think that's where like stuff like that happened.
Yeah.
But I like it. Now this one was just straight green Pearl powder. Again, I don't think I'm going to bunch it up at the tip in the future, because it definitely just bunches up in the tip. The Pearl powder does better swirled. So let's check out how that one came out. That's how they look whenever you mix it in.
Yeah.
With the resin.
Okay.
But this stuff really comes out clear. Now this one was a gold, like a metallic alcohol ink. But again, it didn't really climb and spread the way that the non-metallic did. So I think stuff like that would do better dripped in up at the top and let to settle.
Yeah.
This was just brown. I did, like, it's one of my favorites. Because that flash that it gets right there. I like it. It's like root beer or honey gold or something.
That one's one of my favorites.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I love that ink swirl in it. And really the shape of this one, I think, is just nice too. This one was my favorite from the Pearl X. It was an Inference Gold. It's a white powder that has a gold flash to it.
Cool.
Which I thought looked really cool in the tip. But again, you can see it just settles so much there at the tip. This one has little holographic glitter flecks in it.
Yeah.
I want to get my hand on some bigger flakes of that, because I really like that effect. Just in clear resin. Yellow alcohol ink. Just neat. I wonder what kind of look I would be able to get by doing just 3 separate drops and not mixing them, but just pouring the resin in and seeing if the different colors would climb.
Possibly.
Because this is orange. And I like the orange as an accent color. Like maybe the orange mixed with the yellow would have been cool. But I don't much care for it just by itself. It's a little just orange.
Make a nice salmon.
Yeah.
Salmon.
Oh. We're not even talking about that. But yeah, I liked this one. Again, that kind of climbing the edge look of a lava lamp. You know? This was some purple Pearl X with this holographic.
That's actually really cool.
You like it?
Yeah.
I think, again, this could have done better being applied from the top.
Probably my second favorite.
Really?
Yeah.
And then this one.
It's pretty neat.
Which I think looks cool. It looks like that part grew out of it. And that was from where I put the pin in, I think. Or something. It's super cool. Yeah, you didn't see the rupees.
I didn't.
You like that one? No, I already showed them, but you can show them again, too. I want to get your opinion of it.
The color is absolutely perfect, minus the sparkly bits.
Well, yeah, I experiment.
Yeah.
But no, I love the flakes. Not the biggest fan of the round glitters.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try to get my hand on some just flakes.
Yeah, the flakes are pretty cool.
I saw Lauren use them in her work, and I was like, I need to use those. But these ones were the green ones.
This came out a little dark.
This was India ink.
Really?
Yeah.
Both of them?
Alcohol ink, India ink.
Oh, okay.
Which I figure I could just use less.
A little bit closer to what I
want. Well, it was an actual green as opposed to this one was like stream or something. That was Pearl X powder and glitter. Like I really like the structure that the Pearl X powder gets. But all the glitters were just settling to the bottom, which I was pretty disappointed in. Yeah. Because I was hoping, like you can see in a lot of those hearts and stuff, like this one especially was probably the worst. It all just plunk, settled straight to the bottom.
Gotcha.
But we'll see though. Yeah, and I need to weasel that one out of its container, but I do like these orange flakes, though, too. But I think it would have benefited from being cast deeper and stirred much better.
Mm.
But I was just kind of panicking and throwing stuff in there. And you feel how squishy this is. Squish it with your finger.
It's not really.
Feel the edges.
Oh, yeah, the edges are...
I might be able to, like, shave them down or something, but you can see even... What do you think of how these ones came out?
Those turned out a lot better than I thought they would.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It wasn't a bad use for some poorly executed polymer clay experiments.
No.
Now these ones, the little silicone mode that we usually use on the polymer clay, came out with a matte finish.
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
which, I mean, is nice, but I prefer super shiny.
Yeah.
Just check out this one.
Ooh.
And that's from this kind of mold. See
how
how
old mold.
But see how it has that mirror finish shiny inside? That translates over directly, because how this one's all matte, it makes that little bit of texture on the surface. I mean, this resin picks up like crazy.
Picks up like everything.
Oh, you got it out for me.
I did.
Thank you. Oh, that's so pretty, Randy. Look at that. This one I over poured because I figured I could sand it down.
Okay.
As opposed to... Oh, where'd it go?
Would sanding it down really be a good way of doing it?
I sanded some of the other ones from the last batch.
Okay.
Like these guys.
Really?
This one's not sanded.
Okay.
But... Oh, where you at? This one is. So you can feel the before and after. Touch it with your finger. Before. After. And this was just, I got lazy and didn't keep filling it in.
Well, those are pretty neat.
Well, thank you, Randy. So, straight from the Randy's mouth. It's pretty neat, he says. But thanks, guys, for hanging out with me for this tutorial. If y'all have any questions, comments, or ideas, I'd love to hear from you. That's not me farting, that's my bar stool, I promise. But really, though, I think I'm hooked. If y'all have any suggestions or requests, or like, Bon, do this, you gotta do this, and you try it, let us know how it goes. Please let me know, because there's infinite things that I can try with resin, and I only have like half a bottle left. So, I'm like, I can't try everything all at once, but I'm gonna try everything all at once. So, if y'all enjoy my free tutorials, please consider sharing, subscribing, liking, all that good stuff. Also, if you want to go even further in supporting what I do, please check me out on Patreon. There'll be links down below. For as little as $1 a month, you can participate in my Fairy House giveaways that I have every week now, as well as my monthly craft crates, my digital download content. Like, we've got a bunch of different tiers fit for every budget, hopefully, so that you can participate however much or however little as you like. And then also, if you want to be involved but don't want to become a patron, you can still just follow us on Patreon and get some behind the scenes access to like pictures and videos and different things without even having to be a pledger. I just post some things specifically just to Patreon, as opposed to Facebook and Instagram as well, which you can tag me and post things on my Facebook wall also. So I'm on most platforms, we should be able to connect a bit. So I really look forward to connecting with you guys, and I will see y'all in my next video. So until then, happy crafting. Bye.